How have its neighbors and the United States responded to the launch?
Right, well, obviously, deliberately or not, this launch came as the US and much of the world was otherwise occupied. In fact, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, at the time of the launch, was on a plane on the way to Brussels for the summits, the G7 and other summits about the Ukraine. Nonetheless, as you just mentioned, the US has acted very quickly in terms of sanctions and has put new sanctions on these 5 entities in China, North Korea, and Russia. And we've also seen strong statements of condemnation, also from the US President Biden and from Japanese Prime Minister Kishida, and of course from the outgoing South Korean President Moon. And I think looking forward, what we can perhaps see is that we'll see a tighter cooperation between those 3 governments on this issue, because, of course, the incoming president of South Korea has promised a tougher line on North Korea.
This is representing, of course, the abandonment of the Trump moratorium. We've seen this missile testing program stepped up by North Korea in the recent months. So what is the context of this and what was unusual for yesterday?
Yes, I think there were several things that were unusual about yesterday. As you mentioned, this represents the breaching of that moratorium. So this is the first intercontinental ballistic missile launch since 2017. And that moratorium was what enabled those famous Trump summits with Kim Jong-un, of course. Not only that, but it was a new type of weapon. We've seen some details, obviously, revealed by KCNA today, but as suspected, it was the Hwangsong 17. So that means it's capable of holding multiple warheads and traveling a great distance. So it represents a new degree of threat, I think, not to just to the region, but to a wide portion of the world. And of course, all this comes against the background of we're seeing renewed activity around the main nuclear testing site in North Korea, which is another worrying development. And speaking from Tokyo here, I would also mention that that it landed relatively close to the coast of Japan this time. And that clearly adds to the degree of nervousness about the missiles in this country.